Hello, this is Dora Tarver from createandmanageschedules.com. In today's video coaching session, we're going to focus on the ribbon that you see here at the top of the Microsoft Project interface and how you can actually customize the ribbon. We're going to look at each of the tabs here in the ribbon, the functionality behind it, and how you can customize the ribbon by creating your own tabs and groups within those tabs to make your project management efforts more successful. So, when most people open up Microsoft Project 2010, one of the first things that they'll notice is the ribbon. It's designed to make your user experience easier. You'll be able to navigate to the functional areas that you'll use more quickly, and it's also very customizable. The ribbon replaces the old menus and toolbar buttons that we saw in previous versions of Project. And what you'll see here, besides the tabs, is that on each tab are groups of information, and we're going to focus in on each of these tabs and what's within them. So the first tab that we're going to focus on is the Task tab, which we have currently selected. The Task tab provides buttons for adding, formatting, and literally working with the tasks in your project schedule. Okay. So on the schedule group, which appears right here, you can mark the % complete for your tasks by literally selecting a task, and you can select 25% complete. It automatically changes that and puts a progress bar on the Gantt chart indicating that % complete. You can link tasks by selecting a task and then clicking on another task and clicking on the link button here to link the tasks, and it automatically puts the predecessor in here. And another very helpful feature in 2010 is you can actually inactivate a task by selecting a task and clicking on the inactivate button. It grays it out, puts a line across it, and as it says here in the help information that pops up, when you inactivate a task, the task will remain in the project file, but it's no longer affecting the resources availability who's assigned to that task or how other tasks are scheduled around it. When you want to reactivate a task, simply select it and click on inactivate again, and it reactivates the task. Another feature that you'll see here under the tasks section group is auto schedule and manual schedule. By default, Project 2010 opens with manual scheduled set. So when you start typing in a task name, you'll notice that the duration and start and finish dates will not automatically fill in like they did in previous versions. You can then either go to File Options and change the setting from manual to automatic to have every task that you enter automatically fill in, or you can use these toolbar buttons to control whether or not Project automatically recalculates and fills in information for you. Now let's take a quick look at the Resource tab. The buttons on the Resource tab here help you to work with what could be a very complex and confusing situation, which is managing resources. And from this tab, you can actually add resources, you can assign resources to tasks, level resources that are over allocated, and you can also launch the Team Planner tool, which we'll go into in a little bit as well. Now let me go ahead and, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to copy these tasks so that we have multiple tasks with multiple resources, and I'm going to go ahead and put in some predecessor information. There we go, just so that we can have some over allocated resources to work with. So on the Resource tab, the first group here is the Team Planner, and if you click on that button, it opens up the Team Planner view. And right now I have 3 resources, and going back to the Gantt chart view, if I click on the Gantt chart icon down here, I basically have, this is a milestone, let me just make that a milestone, these tasks down here, and I'm just going to renumber them so it's not too confusing. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually take out a resource. I'm going to right click and select clear contents so that we have someone who's not assigned to a task. Now when I click on the team planner, these are the resources that we have. We can see who's over allocated because they're red and because these tasks appear in red. We can see what the unassigned tasks are, which means we can assign this to another resource over here. Now if you're using an agile methodology in your project management, you can actually use this unassigned section here as a backlog. So let's say you have some task here, you can drag it down here, it's unassigned, and this will be in the backlog, which you can then assign to someone when they're available. But just to point out, when you have a resource that's over allocated, their name will appear red, the task will have these red bars above them, and you can literally click on the task and see when that resource is free and move that task to a time frame when they're free. And then that resource is no longer over allocated and that task is now rescheduled. Likewise, for any unassigned tasks, you can click on any one of them and drag the task to, it's telling me actual work cannot be moved because it's work in progress. Let me fix that. Going back to the Gantt chart for task 1, I'm going to make this 0%, make these both 0%, and then go back to the team planner and select this task and move it to a resource that's available at that time frame. Again, the unassigned section, you can easily drag and drop tasks to resources when they're available. So now let's say we insert some rows, and I'm going to make those rows manually scheduled. Actually, let me go into options and change my default to manual scheduled. And now when I type a task name, it doesn't fill out the duration and the start and finish. So these two tasks are not scheduled. And when I go back to the resource tab and click on Team Planner, I'll see that there are two tasks that are unscheduled and unassigned. Now let's say, going back to the Gantt chart, that I assign the tasks to a resource. Let's just say Brenda's going to be the resource for these tasks. I'm just going to copy her name down. Now these tasks are assigned. So when I go to here, I can see that they are assigned to Brenda, but they're still unscheduled. There's no date that they've been assigned. So these are some of the features that you have within the Team Planner. Again, you can easily drag and drop tasks to move them to different time zones or different resources, which makes your resource management much easier. Now going back to the Gantt chart view, if we click on the Project tab, we use the Project tab to basically handle the more advanced functions involving specific attributes of the schedule, reporting, etc. So for example, on the Project tab, you'll find custom fields where you can click on that and define a custom field, assign a formula to the custom field, which we'll get into in other sections, assign graphical indicators to that custom field, etc. So that functionality is available. You can also do assign a work breakdown code for a specific task. So if you click on this, you can define a code and let's say we want just a numbered order. It can be any length. Click on OK. If I insert the work breakdown schedule column, WBS, I'll see the numbers here. And again, I can go in here and define codes to letters. And now this changes to letters. So you can easily work with that from here. Another popular function is to set a baseline for your project schedule. I'm going to go ahead and hide the work breakdown column. When you baseline your schedule, you're basically taking a snapshot of it, and you can use that to measure your progress through the project lifecycle against a period of time that you originally set your baseline at. So here's our baseline button. We can click on here. We can set a baseline. It gives us the options that it did in Project 2007. It allows you to set a baseline, and you can choose whether it's your first baseline or second or third, etc. There are a total of 11. You can create an interim plan. You can set a baseline for the entire project or for selected tasks. And once you set the baseline, and we go over this in another video, you can then insert the start, finish baseline columns, duration, work, etc., and be able to see visually how accurate you are in your project for what you had planned and what actually takes place. So that's the set baseline option. The calculate project button is used if you had your automatic calculation off and you need to come in and recalculate. You can use this button. Move project is if you need to recalculate your project start and finish dates, because they may have changed. We'll get into reporting in a later video. So those are the most popular activities that you'll use on the project tab. On the view tab, the view tab is really kind of a central area for selecting various views that are available in project. Project 2010 has a number of views that you'll recognize from previous versions. You'll notice the popular Gantt chart view. There's a task usage view. And the same views that we've seen before: network diagram, calendar, timeline. The team planner we just looked at. The resource views have team planner, resource usage, resource sheet, and other resource views. So if you click on more views, you can go to the other views that are available. And you have the standard ability to sort, collapse and outline, filter, change the table that you're working on, change the time scale, show the timeline at the top or not, and of course open a new window with a new project in it, project file, and there are macros available as well. Now let's take a look at the Format tab. And the Format tab basically has buttons to help you customize the text and columns and colors of the cells, everything that you view, including the Gantt chart. You'll see here under the Gantt chart style, you can actually come in and change the appearance of how the Gantt chart items appear, and you can select new task which you want that appearance to appear for. There are specific formatted styles that you can select for scheduling as well. And this format button here actually allows you to go in. It opens up the same dialog box you were just in, and you can insert or remove specific Gantt chart formats that exist. This allows you to see critical tasks or not, to display slack or not, to see late tasks or not. Also in the format, when you first come in and create your project schedule, we came in and we used the textiles to define how milestones and critical tasks appear. So if I select milestones, you can see we had changed that to blue, and the same for critical tasks, we had changed that to be red. And of course, you can actually change the text styles for a number of different items in the project schedule, as well as the font face and font size. You can change the background color, the foreground color, and make your interface unique for how you need to use it. There's also the layout button here, where you can decide if you want to see links. These are links that you see the arrows down here. If I don't want to see them, I can click on that and click on OK, and those links go away. And that's part of the layout. On the bars here, you see there are dates, but we could change how those dates appear. So again, these are all formatting options. For columns, we can actually insert a column, select the column type, and we can also hide a column. We can define the column settings. You can hide the column, wrap the column. Field settings for the column. This is the task name column. You can change the title of that to be My Tasks, or whatever you want to call it. Click on OK, and you'll see that in the column header. You can also define the custom fields from this toolbar. And we can also display outline numbers for tasks. We can set project summary tasks to show. This project is called the Setup 1, so I prefer not to see that. But if you had multiple project schedules in this file and you wanted to see the different project names at the summary level, that would be an option. I do want to see summary tasks, but if I didn't, I could take that out. And there's also a drawing option. You can have various objects that you draw for whatever reason. Oops. On the Gantt chart. And these are specific to the Gantt chart, by the way. You can't draw on the table side. Okay? Now, before we move on to other details, I want to point out that besides the ribbon up here, Project 2010 has a status bar down in the lower right-hand corner that allows you to change views from Gantt chart to task usage to team planner to resource sheet. And when you right-click in this area, you can see that you can customize the status bar. Also, on the lower left-hand side, you'll see that there's a quick access toolbar where you can select whether or not you want to have new tasks manually scheduled or automatically scheduled. So when you're on a task, instead of, let me go back to the Gantt view, instead of using the command buttons up here, you can actually select the task and change it down here. Okay. Another quick detail is the mini toolbar at the very, very top, and also the mini toolbar that appears when you right click. You'll see a little mini toolbar. Depending on where you are, the mini toolbar will have different functions available. Now let's look really quickly at what you can do to customize this toolbar. Literally, if you right click in the ribbon area, you'll see that there's a customize the ribbon option, minimize the ribbon, show quick access toolbar below the ribbon, which is this right here. And actually, let's take a look at that. See, it moves this down. I don't know why anyone would want to do that, but anyway, let's move it back. And then there's a customize quick access toolbar, meaning add other buttons up here, and add a quick access toolbar, create a whole new one. So what we're going to do is we're going to customize the ribbon. And to do that, we right click, select that option. We can see the default tabs that exist already. And let's say you have other activities that you prefer to see. Now there are a couple things you can do. You can actually add them into existing groups or create your own tab. To create your own tab, you literally click on New Tab, and here's the new tab that we just created. I'm going to rename this to Dora's Tools. So that's called Dora's Tools. Now, within a tab, such as the Resource tab, there are groups. And, for example, well, I'm on the Task tab, so let me go to that one so you can see that as an example. So there's a View group, Clipboard group, Font group, and within the groups are specific functions. So within the new tab that you're creating, you can also have groups. And let's say I'm going to rename this group. I'm going to call it, oops, it's prompting me. Oh, the rename option is down here. I'll call it editing. I'm just making up a name. And I can assign an image to that. Click on OK. And let's say I want to add a new group within that. I'm going to rename it. I'm going to call this, let's see, scheduling resources. And I'll just give that an image as well. And now that I have those, let's say I want to assign a command to specific ones. Let's say this assign resource 1. I'm going to add it. Because I had scheduling resources selected, it put it under scheduling resources. If I go to this one, editing that I created, and select email and add that, it will put it under editing. So basically I'm building my own tab. I've created groups and specific functions within those groups. So from here, once that's created, I can just click on OK, and I can see Dora's Tools over here. I can actually click on this and see the specific groups that I created. If I right click and go back to customize the ribbon, right now Dora's Tools is second from, is just after tasks, but I could move that to the very end or change the order to another location. So now here it is. And whatever functionality I put in here, I have access to. Of course, I can add as many functions within a group that I want. Let's say under editing, I also want, for some reason, font size and paste. Okay, and if I click on OK, now I can see those options available under editing. So creating a new toolbar, a new tab with functionality, groups and functionality in the ribbon is very easy to do. And it'll help you to be able to manage your tasks and be able to have quick access to the functionality that you need right away. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to open a ticket at ineedsupportplease.com. Thank you for your time and have an excellent day.